the Golden State Valkyries are about to hit the court for the very first time.
They're going to be happy to see what's in store for this season.
We'll hear from players and fans ready for the start of a new era in Bay Area basketball.
I'm so excited.
Plus, we'll meet some East Bay neighbors who put up their own private license plate readers to deal with rampant break-ins.
This wasn't something we could wait around on, so we wanted to lead by example.
They say it's working, but will the city foot the bill? And President Trump says there's no way he's funding California's high-speed rail.
It's like totally out of control.
The latest shots in the funding battle over the decades-old project. And later, a creative way to address the housing crunch.
I wasn't sure how I was going to be able to live on my own.
We'll introduce you to a college athlete who's earning his keep with a couple that needs a lot of help around the house. And the new app that connected them.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Good evening. The Golden State Valkyries are about to take the floor for the first time in franchise history. KPIX is the proud broadcast partner of the Valkyries. In just about an hour, the team will face the Los Angeles Sparks for the very first preseason game. Chase Center is decked out in violet, and fans are already filing into the arena to see the Bay Area's first WNBA team. Our Kelsey Thorne has been with the Valkyries throughout their entire training camp. She joins us live from Chase Center right now. Kelsey, this is really exciting, and the Bay Area's really embraced this team, along with, I would say, you.
Well, you know, it's contagious, Juliette. Once you see the violet out here, you just can't help but be a Valkyries fan. But as you said, people are so excited. This is the first ever WNBA game here at Chase Center. They have a brand new court. The fans are starting to stream in. We got a chance to speak with several of the fans outside as they made their way in here for tonight's historic game.
The first ever Valkyries game at Chase Center is finally here, and the fans couldn't be more excited.
I'm a season ticket holder. I've never bought a season ticket for anything in my life. I come to Warriors games, but have never spent that kind of money. I'm so excited.
More than 10,000 fans bought season tickets to the Valkyries. As a thank you, they were all gifted matching jackets ahead of this first preseason game.
Nice little patch on it. One of a kind. One of a kind. It's got the Valkyrie logo on the inside, so I'm really excited for this.
The excitement palpable among fans of all ages. We ran into young Peyton Mayora as she was heading into the game with her dad and grandpa.
Peyton, how excited are you tonight? 5 out of 5?
I mean 10.
Oh, 10. Yeah, well, your other hands are full of pom-poms, so I get it. Have you ever been to a women's basketball game before?
I'm going right now.
You are going right now?
Yeah, but it's a girl one.
I know. How cool is that?
Good.
How fun is it to bring your daughter to a WNBA game?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, this is a dream come true. My parents would take me to games when I was her age, and now I can bring my kids, and this is awesome. I wouldn't have it any other way.
So many fans just excited to finally see their favorite players hit the court. They're hopeful this team will make a big mark in the league this inaugural season and cement themselves as the place to be in the Bay this summer.
I can't wait to drag my clients to the games. I can't wait to drag friends and family to the games. So I have my bail bond card. We are ready for a party.
And you know what's cool, Juliette, is that there are hundreds of Peytons in the crowd here at Chase Center tonight. So many little girls with their moms, with their dads. That's been one of the coolest things to see. You know, this is a fandom that has spread Bay-wide, and this is just the first night.
It is just the first night. We look forward to your reports tonight and all season long. Kelsey, thank you. Of course, it is also a big night for the players on this inaugural Valkyries roster. From untested rookies to all-stars and Olympians, there's a wide range of experience in the locker room. One thing they all have in common, they've never had to build a team from scratch before. Veteran forward Mo Billings says training camp has been downright feisty in a good way.
We're getting after it. I think we want, like I said, we want our standard to be set. We want to be felt. And right now we have to play against each other. But looking forward to season. That's what we want our opponents to feel.
And you can watch the Valkyries face off with the Sparks on PIX Plus. We're on the air with the pregame show at 6:30. Tip-off is at 7. Then we'll break down all of the highlights on the post-game show. It's also a big night for Bay Area basketball. The Golden State Warriors are taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves on the road. It is game 1 in the second round of the NBA playoffs. The Warriors are coming off a huge Game 7 win against the Houston Rockets on Sunday. But their stars played nearly the whole game, including Steph Curry, who was on the court for 46 out of the 48 minutes. They're facing a younger, bigger Timberwolves team that has had nearly an entire week off after closing out the Lakers last week. On to other news. Neighbors in one East Bay city got so fed up with the number of burglaries and break-ins, they took matters into their own hands by paying to install their own license plate reader cameras. So now those neighbors are asking the city of Orinda to pick up the tab on their cameras and add 15 more. Katie Nielsen has their story.
In a little over an hour, the Orinda City Council will meet here to discuss next year's budget. And one of the line items they'll be talking about is adding more license plate reader cameras. It's something one group of residents say is long overdue.
Take a look at this surveillance video. Prowlers casing houses in the Knickerbocker neighborhood of Orinda.
This is something that in this neighborhood we dealt with personally, not only myself but other people.
Evan Dreyer says his home in Orinda was broken into last January, and he and his family no longer felt safe.
We understand that getting city governments and city budgets to do things sometimes can take time. This wasn't something we could wait around on, so we wanted to lead by example.
Evan sent out a bunch of emails to his neighbors and asked if they'd be interested in paying for their own license plate reader cameras. And in just a few days, he got more than 30 families to sign on. They installed 2 flock cameras at the main entrances to the neighborhood at a cost of a little over $11,000 for a 2-year contract, which came out to about $400 per family.
Like this car right here that's coming down right now, for example, it's going to automatically turn on, take a picture of this license plate, and if that car was a vehicle that was wanted by the police, it automatically gives them an alert, so they will now know, oh, he just crossed by Steinway, and they can do something.
At the meeting on Tuesday night, the Orinda City Council is considering not only picking up the contract on the 2 cameras Evan and his neighbors paid for, but then adding another 15 more. Privacy advocates have raised concerns in general about these license plate reader cameras because almost every law enforcement agency in the area can get access to the data.
What is the information being used for? And why is it okay for people's license plates to be captured indiscriminately by law enforcement when people driving down the road are really not breaking any laws?
But in Orinda, that hasn't seemed to slow down deployment. The city currently has a total of 19 cameras, and of those, only 7 were installed by the city. The other 12 were installed by neighborhood groups or HOAs.
I want to keep my neighborhood safe. Absolutely.
Scott Johnson says his HOA already paid for a camera at the entrance to their community and says while he thinks the city should be paying for it, he is willing to foot the bill if necessary.
Fix the roads and we could go and fix the lights. And yes, we'd all like to see society work better, but a lot of our municipalities really just don't seem to be following through.
We reached out to both the mayor's office and the police chief for comment on the license plate reader cameras, but both refused our requests for interviews. That city council meeting here in Orinda starts at 7 p.m.
Flock says it has more than 5,000 customers nationwide with clients that range from law enforcement and businesses to schools and neighborhood groups. And that includes Bay Area police departments like San Francisco, Oakland and East Palo Alto, as well as the CHP. All right, we're getting our first look at Oakland's plan to tackle its $265 million budget deficit over the next 2 fiscal years. Interim Mayor Kevin Jenkins says his proposal will protect police and fire services. The plan would slash 80 currently staffed jobs, though city officials believe they can reduce that to less than a dozen by shuffling people to vacant positions. The budget would also fund 678 police officers and 23 fire engine companies, but shut down 2 of them on a rotating basis. The budget relies on a proposed property tax hike. If the city council signs off, it would go before voters in June of next year. Less than a month ago, Oakland voters approved an increase in the city's sales tax to help address the budget issues. Some Oaklanders say they shouldn't have to be on the hook.
Every time the city council has some brilliant idea that's going to cost a lot of money, who do they turn to? Us.
The proposed parcel tax could bring in another $40 million to the city. The city council will review the proposal and must vote on the budget by the end of next month. President Trump said his administration will stop funding California's long-troubled high-speed rail project. The president made the comments off the cuff during a White House sit-down with Canada's new prime minister.
I've watched a lot of stupid people build a lot of stupid things, but that's the worst cost overrun I've ever seen.
The project's estimated cost has ballooned up to nearly 4 times the original $33 billion price tag. This isn't the first time President Trump has pulled its funding. During his first term, he tried to claw back nearly $1 billion, but the state won the money back in a settlement with the Biden administration, which then awarded another $3.1 billion grant. Trump also taunted Governor Newsom, saying he thinks the overruns from the high-speed rail project will tank Newsom's future presidential hopes. We reached out to the governor for his response. A spokesperson sent us a statement calling President Trump the, quote, king of debt. And about the rail project, he added, quote, with 50 major structures built, walking away now as we enter the track laying phase would be reckless, wasting billions of invested dollars already invested in letting job killers cede a generational infrastructure advantage to China. All right, we have an update in the search for a 79-year-old missing hiker in San Mateo County. The sheriff's office says it is scaling down search operations for Elaine McKinley. The sheriff's office shared this map of the search area. Each one of those reddish-orange lines is a path the teams have searched either on foot, in the air, or even on horseback. McKinley hasn't been seen since last Thursday when she went out on a hike at the Windy Hill Preserve. The sheriff's department says although it's limiting its resources, the search continues. Anyone with information is asked to call 911. Still ahead here at 6, PG&E and other groups are dredging up some of the oil and soil under Fisherman's Wharf. Why it will actually help protect the sea life nearby. Plus, this college student needed a place to live and he was more than willing to work for it. The new program that connected him with a couple that needs a lot of help around the house.
It doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like a chore to lend a helping hand.
It gives me back my freedom, and he's great to have around, and he laughs at my jokes.
A Bay Area startup is taking a different approach in an attempt to help solve the housing crisis plaguing the state. It is a matchmaking app, but not in the traditional way you may be thinking of. Our Itai Hodge shows us how they're zeroing in on what could be an untapped market.
When most students have called it a day, Nanak Tagore is just getting started. A shooting guard for the Dominican University basketball team. He's got range, control, and a shot that rarely misses. But when it came time to find housing in the Bay Area, let's just say he was out of his league.
San Rafael is one of the most expensive places to live, so I wasn't sure how I was going to be able to live on my own.
That's when he stumbled on a startup called Joey, a platform that pairs students with homeowners who need a little help around the house. Nanak now pays about $1,700 a month for a room in Marin County. But $500 of that he works off with chores, cleaning windows, taking out the trash, sorting the mail, and yes, making lunch.
Did you even know how to cook?
The basics.
The people he lives with can use the help. Paige Miller has early-stage dementia. Her husband Robert runs a company and works long hours.
My worry actually was Paige. Would she feel comfortable having somebody else live in the house?
It gives me back my freedom, and he's great to have around, and he laughs at my jokes.
With about 60% of U.S. homes having at least one spare bedroom, the new housing frontier may already be built and gaining momentum.
It just didn't make sense to me why we couldn't have something similar to au pairs for older adults.
Joey founder and CEO Allison Donnelly says Nanak is the first student to match up, but more applications are already being processed.
What we can do at Joey Co. is create more bedroom inventory for these students.
So here's my room.
As for Nanak, he's found more than just a place to stay.
It doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like a chore to lend a helping hand.
Because sometimes the most important plays don't happen on the court.
Here's the salad.
They happen in real life.
They're colorful.
When no one's keeping score.
Are these peas any good?
Yeah, they are.
Each renter comes to a unique agreement with the homeowner that accounts for rent and how much they're able to help with chores. The Joeys are paid by the hour and then reimbursed at the end of each month. All right, how about the Pauls? He tells us the weather.
You signing up for that?
For a Joey? To have a Joey?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
Why not?
Temperatures across the Bay Area today took a step back towards what's normal for this time of year. Low 80s in Concord, with 70s for most other inland parts of the Bay Area, and will drop again tomorrow temporarily. Details on a big warm up later this week coming up in First Alert Weather.
A cleanup project in the San Francisco Bay near Fisherman's Wharf is now underway. PG&E is working to clean out leftover sediment more than 100 years old. So the project will happen over the next 5 years, starting at Pier 43.5 and Pier 43 this year. Then crews will work on Pier 41.5 next year, followed by the West Marina in 2027. Work on the East Marina is expected to start in 2028 and finish up by the end of 2029. Crews are working to clean up leftover sediment from an old PG&E manufactured gas plant on Beach Street in the early 1900s. PG&E says the sediment doesn't pose any health or environmental risks to humans. Crews will only work from June to November in order to protect wildlife and marine habitats in the area.
PG&E will be implementing this project with not only worker safety, community safety, but also sea life safety as a top priority. As such, we've engaged with the Marine Mammal Center to make sure that our plan and implementation can proceed that is both safe and protective of the sea lions while allowing us to do our remediation work.
The port says it will be working with PG&E to limit impact to businesses and piers and other nearby tenants. All right, clear skies, blue skies, but let's check in with Paul for the real story on our forecast. Hey there.
By judging by our voices, the real story is pollen.
I'm a little hoarse.
Yeah, same thing. It's been all day, and it's not in like an exceptionally high category. Just must be something grass pollen. I think ash and oak are the other top three.
Okay.
I guess we're sensitive to that.
All right. Okay.
We're just very sensitive.
Very.
Very
I'm really not, but okay. You are.
Sound like Kathleen Turner. Let's take a look at what's happening out there right now. Don't make me laugh. We're looking at what you need to know as we head through the rest of this week as the fog's starting to take over downtown already. That cloud cover is going to spread out. It's going to be a cooler, breezy Wednesday, but it's kind of a one-day cool down. Temperatures start to climb already on Thursday, and then we're going to be significantly warmer for the end of the work week on Friday, and then it's down the other side of the roller coaster. Big drop in temperatures from Saturday to Sunday, and then a chance of showers rolls into the Bay Area on Monday. We'll look at that on Futurecast. Our side-by-side forecast models coming up in just a second. Looking outside from Black Mountain towards San Jose, seeing a little haze in the horizon, but no fog just yet. Temperature around the Bay, it's only near 60 degrees, just below in San Francisco and right at 60 in Oakland, and just a couple degrees warmer in Santa Rosa. Other inland temperatures still around 70, exactly 70 degrees right now in San Jose. A pleasant Tuesday evening. We're going to see the fog really spreading out as we head through the rest of tonight. Let's take a look at Futurecast, and we'll track the fog through early tomorrow morning. It's a deeper marine layer, so it's able to overcome those terrain obstacles around the bay and make a good push into the inland valleys. Probably not fog right at ground level, but that low cloud cover hanging out for the first few hours of daylight. Sun comes up at 6 o'clock, though, so it doesn't take too long for that fog to start to back up out of the inland valleys of the East Bay and the Santa Clara Valley. You'll hold on to the fog a little bit longer in the North Bay, and that's going to have an impact on your temperatures. Let's take a look at those forecast highs. For tomorrow, we'll only make it up mostly to the 60s for the North Bay. Some of the warmest spots up to just a little bit above 70 degrees around Healdsburg, but that's the impact of the fog for the first part of the day. Temperatures along the coast only topping out in the mid to upper 50s and barely cracking 60 degrees in San Francisco. The warmest spots spots will be where the fog dissipates a little faster. Low to mid-70s east of the Oakland Hills, slightly below average, but close to where we're supposed to be. Slightly above average, but close to where we're supposed to be. In the Santa Clara Valley, including 75 degrees in San Jose by tomorrow afternoon. Let's take a look at the dog walking forecast for tomorrow. And as we do every Tuesday, we have an adoptable pup in the dog walking forecast. This is Daisy. They call her Daisy Doodle. She is adoptable from Lily's Legacy Senior Dog Rescue in Petaluma. She's not going to mind the cooler temperatures tomorrow or the breeze. Fluffy dogs kind of dread the onset of warmer weather, so she gets a reprieve from that for at least one more day before the temperatures do climb significantly later this week. The onshore breeze is going to be kicking in to a noticeable extent throughout the day tomorrow, but it should back down a little bit as we hit Thursday, which is part of the reason why our temperatures are going to begin to climb on Thursday. Quick check of our side-by-side forecast models. They've traded places. Now the American model is much more optimistic about bringing showers into the Bay Area by Monday, even Monday night and Tuesday of next week, while the European model has started to dry things out. So it's still one of those situations that could go either way. The way we're phrasing it in the 7-day forecast is showers possible. We're being cautious with that phrasing because it's still lower than a 50-50 chance for now. Coastal temperatures going up and down a little bit. The warmest days will be Friday and Saturday. The coolest days will settle in next week with the approach of that storm system. It'll at least bring us the cooler air, even if it doesn't bring us any actual showers. Bayside temperatures cool tomorrow, but then warming up a little Thursday and a lot more on Friday. And the biggest warm up, of course, and eventually the biggest cool down will be farther inland. Temperatures climb up to the upper 80s on Friday, then down a little Saturday, a lot Sunday, and the cool down continues Monday with, again, at least a chance of showers headed our way. Doesn't happen all that often in the month of May, so any chance gets our attention.
All right, sounds good. With the April showers bring May flowers. Yes, that's the saying.
May showers bring June
bloom.
Fog.
June bloom. Okay. Okay.
June gloom?
Bloom. Bloom. All right, when we come back, the early efforts to put in some very specific grass for a cricket pitch at the Coliseum. Bloom with a B, as in boy. So these days, the Oakland Coliseum is primarily a soccer stadium for the Oakland Roots, but next month it is welcoming the world's second most popular sport, cricket. But first, they need to make some changes to the field. We saw Major League Cricket workers putting together one of the most essential parts of the game, the pitch. Right now, it's being put together outside of the Coliseum. The pitch is the playing surface of the game where all the action takes place. It's made of the soil, grass, and sometimes concrete or stone. It's important the play area is a different material than typical grass or turf.
In cricket, the ball bounces off the surface. True bounce basically means that it bounces in a consistent way. So the batter standing there is able to predict how high or low the ball's going to be.
Once it's put together, it's going to be taken to the middle of the grassy field inside of the Coliseum. And one last reminder, we are just minutes away from the Valkyries' first ever preseason game live on PIX Plus 44 Cable 12. Coverage starts at 6:30 with tip-off at 7. And then stick around for the post-game show with Vern, Matt, and Kelsey. CBS Evening News is next. We're streaming all the time on CBS News Bay Area. See you at 7 o'clock with more local news right here. Have a good one.